So I've had my discus now for like 3 weeks? No, I've had them for 4 weeks. Video's been out for like nearly 3. But yeah, they're just doing so well. I was really apprehensive to start with because, you know, I haven't had them for a while, and just because they're a bit more of a sensitive fish as well. But I'm pleased to say everything's gone really well. You know, with the instructions that Cheryl gave me, they're doing great. Look, can you see? Yeah, right up close to me. Look, they're not even scared at all. Now, I would say for the first week, they were not like this, not like you're seeing now. Look, I can even touch them if I want to. I'm not going to because they're covered in a slime coat. But for the first week, they kind of just hid in the background, and I started to think, oh, something's wrong. And there indeed was something wrong. The temperature. Remember when we was in the shop, Cheryl said, keep your discus between like 27, 29 degrees. I'll put up that is in Fahrenheit. But yeah, I thought it was set to that. Turns out it wasn't. As I'm sure many of you have heard me say before, I heat this whole room rather than individual tanks because it just works out way more cost effective. It's a thick walled room this is. It's an old barn, I think, converted, so the walls are like this thick. And then there's like thermal stuff on the roof as well. Anyway, that's not the point. So the discus needs to be a higher temperature than the room. The room's like 22, 23, 24, depending on temperature outside. But the discus needed 29 degrees. So as I say, I noticed that the discus were behaving a bit strange and they were just hiding. They were all in the background area. And I thought, well, maybe they're just getting used to the tank. And then I noticed some bit of scum in the tank, you know, just like a bit of leaf there. I lifted it out like that. And the water didn't feel warm. It just felt, well, it feels cold because you know, your skin temperature is like, whatever it is, 30 something. But it felt quite cold to the touch. So I got the thermometer in and it was at 23 degrees. Way cooler than it needs to be. Now, it's not going to hurt them short term, but it was definitely affecting their behaviour. Now, I've got like a built-in thermometer in the canister filter there, and that goes to a separate plug. And a few days before, I was cleaning out the canister filter because when I put the discus in, I didn't want to do that straight away because it'd been running for a long time, full of beneficial bacteria, a big bar load with the discus, so I didn't want to clean it then. A few days after I put them in, I cleaned the filter out, you know, unplugged all the plugs to do it, and then plugged them back in and thought nothing of it. Now, that was a good couple of days, I think, of them being at that lower temperature because the plug I put the heater into just didn't work. I didn't know it wasn't working because there's not a light to show you that it is or isn't, so I just assumed it was. And that was wrong of me because you should never assume it will make an ass out of you and me. So I then made sure that I had it in the right plug. I even took the heater out to make sure it was actually on, put it back in, sort of clipped it shut. And within a couple of hours, we were up to the right temperature. And lo and behold, the fish, their actual behavior completely changed. They weren't being huddled anymore. They're out at the front. Not like as much as they are now, but a lot more like exploring and things. So yeah, it made a big difference. And I'm really glad I caught it in time. It wasn't a fault of the filter or the heater itself. It was like a cheap extension lead thing that was plugged into. For some reason, one of the sockets didn't work, the rest did. No idea why. It's never happened before. And as I hope you can see, the tank has grown in a lot better than when we first put it in, and everything looks so good. Especially that lotus back there. That is just, it's just grown fantastically, and it's so vibrant and nice as well, isn't it? Do you know what though? Now that we've had some time, I'm not sure if I like these lights or not. I mean, they're pretty, don't get me wrong, and the plants are growing. It just feels like there's more of a sort of bleached look because it's such a white light. It makes all the reds look a bit like sort of, I don't know, strange. They don't look red, they look purpley. So I'm just gonna try with my strip lights back on and just have a look, just to see how it looks under those lights. So back here, I placed the original light that was on there, which is the Superfish one. And I'm just gonna stick it back over, see how the colors look. Fish might freak out for a second. It's okay, guys. It's all okay. Right, just put it like that. Oh, I just dipped the whole plug in the tank. I think that'll be all right, won't it? Sort of just blow it off. Well, if you're watching this video, I survived this next stage. Okay, so top light's off. And now the strip light on. Definitely is a completely different look, that's for sure. It gives a much more sort of yellowy tone to everything. There will be some tannins in the water, sort of accentuating that. Is that the right word, accentuating? And it would definitely need 2, I think. 1 near the front, 1 near the back, because it's such a wide tank. Let me try it with 2 and see what difference that makes. So yeah, 1 light at the back there, and here's 1 in the foreground as well. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that lights it up a lot better. Everything has got a more sort of yellowish tone to it. I think that's because the plants have got used to growing under the different light, and it's kind of desaturated them in a way. And I think that they'll just do way better now with this light. Either that, or I can swap out for Chihiros as well. So this side, look, we've got the red tank that's got all my Malawi cichlids in it. But this is actually changing soon. I'm changing the whole look of it. It's going to be way more suited for the fish themselves. They've grown absolutely huge in here now, so they do need more space. These ones at the front are just the smaller ones, but all the big boys and girls, there we go, starting to come in through now. If I do a little tap, they'll all come up to the surface a bit more. Here they all come. So they're all getting, look at the size of that dominant male there. There's a couple of those as well. And there's the females next to them with the orange fins. Recently, I just started feeding them all way more nutrient-dense food, and their size just took off, and loads more males started showing as well, because I did originally just have 1 male. Anyway, the light here is a Chihiros one. I won't be needing that for the new tank, but those pendant lights could possibly go on it, and that'd work well as well. So if I switch this over, we can see what it looks like. I can change it so it's not red as well. Right, so here we are with the Chihiros one. Obviously, that's the red settings I had. Let's whack everything up to 100%. There we go. If we put everything 100%, it does a white light, just like pretty much the lights above it. But if you turn down, like I've got the app here, if I turn down the blues a little bit, you can kind of get a slightly more sort of warmer hint to it, which I think looks a bit more realistic. Like that to me looks bang on. Like it looks like what I'd expect to see in the wild. Well, kind of. You wouldn't really see a load of discus with these different plants and that sort of thing. But don't worry about that, don't worry about that. I actually think I like the Chihiros on there the best. Yeah, I think I'll go with that. And then what I can do is just transfer these lights here straight across onto the red tank, which won't be so red. Well, it still will be red, but not as red. And they'll be the right lighting for the next setup that we've got in mind, because they're a bit more blue, and that'll go really well with the rock hardscape I've got planned. I'm looking at nothing, aren't I? There we go, look, all swapped over. I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with the other lights that are on here. Like, they grow everything really well. I just don't think there was enough sort of warmth in the light, and you can't change it. So this one for me, the Chihiros, way sort of more natural lighting, I think, and I like that a lot more. And if we spin around, look at how different the red tank now looks. It's like this little sort of cool cove down there. Looks awesome, right? Now, obviously, any tips that you see in that are bright red are just where they're closer to the light. Any light source will make red plants go more red as they get closer. I actually think I like that a lot better. It looks far more natural, right? But it will be completely different to this. I need that big wood out the back. It just needs to come out. It's taking up way too much space. We need more swim room. We need something that's a little bit more, you know, similar to what their natural habitat is as well. But, you know, that's the beauty of buying fish when they're small and young. Now, when me and Matt ordered them like over a year ago, we didn't know they were going to be that small, because you never really know the size. It's just pot luck what arrives. And they were babies. And I was a little bit like, oh, because they were all grey and brown to start with. But now they look amazing. And I'm a little bit debating, to be honest, because I've got a 6-foot tank coming from my house, my first home tank. Like, I'm going to obviously show you guys it as well. And I kind of want these guys to go in that one and have it as like a rockscape only. I'm not sure yet, though. Maybe, I don't know when it's going to arrive, and this needs sorting out quite soon, so I might not do that. I might just do a full-on jungle at home. Because Kate has said that either she wants this look with the Mabunas, because she loves the fish, but she also loves how sort of clean and good everything looks all the time, or she wants what's around this way, which is this tank here, the ecosystem tank. Now, what again she likes about this is it always looks tidy. It doesn't grow too fast. Any of the fast-growing stems that you can see, they'll just be chopped back in like a few days or so. The Palustria super red there starting to hit the surface, so a couple of snips and a replant, and then it's job done. So very, very simple. She also likes all the plants coming out the top, which she never used to, but now that she's getting more into the actual, you know, keeping of the fish and getting excited about the fish themselves, she's got her favourites, you see. She knows the benefits of these things, and she said, like, how cool would this look back by my desk area in the house, like this big jungle in one corner. What a great talking point and stuff for us to enjoy at home, but also people coming in to see as well. So it's either going to be this or a very simplified, you know, not exactly this, but a very simplified sort of rocky, modernish look. What do you reckon I should go for? The Malawi cichlid tank full rock work, downward spotlights, or this, a full-on jungle again. I'll tell you what, the colours of the Malawi are actually showing way better now. They're not just coated in red, even though they're shaded at the front here as well. Let me get them to go back in a little bit. Whoa, look at those colours. They're way better now, way more vibrant. Awesome. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get this tank sorted. It doesn't need a huge amount, but it does need some touch-ups, just to make sure that any sort of issues we've got now that are minor don't become major and then require huge cleanup. First thing though, let's give them some food, because then they can eat that whilst we're sort of cleaning up, and they'll ignore us then. So the first thing we've got is some Discus, hang on, there we go, some Discus beef heart mix. Look at that big slab of it. Won't need a lot more than that. That's quite a big amount. And this has got like garlic and things like that in it as well. So I just put it in there to defrost. Then I got some Discus pellets in there as well. And then some Cory pellets too. Because obviously we've got our stir-by Cories in there. Now it looks like a lot of food. But remember, they're bigger fish and they're growing. And they're gonna eat that so fast, there won't be anything left. And I just realised my camera fell down for all of that, so apologise, but you get the idea. Right, now that's defrosted, I take my little fine net and I just pour it into that. This gets rid of any sort of like brine and things. There we go, it smells just like garlic. And now we can feed these beautiful things, and they've gotten very clever. They know the taplet, they know what it means. Now there's this hierarchy, so not all of them come tearing forward at the same time. And what I like to do is just pick out bits of the food, drop a bit there, drop a bit there, you know, and just put it all over the tank just to make sure that all of the fish get a piece. Some at the back as well, because the Cories sometimes stay at the back. Majority of it I put in this front foreground area so they know exactly where it is each time. Come on, little guy over here. There we go. Can you get some? That's it. Some of them just are more like heavy eaters than others. I don't know what that is. Like, some of them need to be far more relaxed. I think that's enough. I've got a bit extra here, and I'm going to put that in for Chunks' tank, because we've got loads on the floor already. They're all eating out of the water column. You know, there's only so much they can fit in their bellies. Here you go, guys. Grubs up. Chunks coming. There you go. Come on, Chunks. He's so polite. Like, he doesn't dive into the rest of them. He's so gentle, but they're all getting some of that. I'll put some little flake in as well in this tank, because obviously we've got the finer fit. Well, there's loads there. But there is a lot of fish as well, so I want the bigger chunks getting eaten up by the bigger chunks and the angelfish as well. And I want to just make sure there's enough fine food for all the little tetras and that. Yeah, there should be plenty there. I can see them all in the areas eating and that. Cool. Oh yeah, don't forget, guys, Chunks merch is available. It probably won't come before Christmas now, but you know, you can buy it for a Christmas present if you want. This is probably my favourite hoodie. Chunks on it, yeah. Available, link below. Oh, there we go. The last shot, the yellow fish weren't eating as much, but I was just seeing this one here. It likes to go down and peck at what's left on the floor like that. So kind of like a hierarchy thing, I guess. Some are just more dominant than others. Like, look at this guy just chasing everyone everywhere. This is my feeding area, and that's natural. You can't stop that, but you know, the tank is big enough. There's going to be food for him to scavenge now for a good couple of hours because I dotted it around everywhere. But now we can get onto some glass scraping. Glass is a little bit of a murk on it, but nothing too bad. And this is only the second time I've had to do this, so they're not quite used to it. I don't know how they're going to react, but if I just go nice and steady near them, they have to get used to it, because it's something that well, I don't have to do it all the time, but it depends how mature the tank is. The longer the tank's gone on, oh look, very inquisitive. The longer the tank has gone on, the less often I have to do any glass scraping, especially if you've got like bristle nose in there. They clean a lot of it. But eventually, if you've got decent enough lighting, you're going to get a little bit of a build-up. Now, you can just go in with a sponge or something like that. I just like to do it like this. Keep your hands nice and dry. And it does clean it perfectly. It doesn't scratch or anything. It's probably one of my most used tools in the whole studio. It does work really well. Like, when your algae on the front glass is just loosely on there, then you can just wipe it off with anything, even a magnet. But when it's like that proper green spot algae, it takes ages, and this just scrapes it off instantly. But this isn't coming off so easy now. The good news is that the fish don't seem to be bothered at all, which is good. They freaked out the first time I put it in, but yeah, they're good now. Now the glass on the back area on the other side is pretty clean because it's kind of shaded by the plants. But this side panel, it's got a little bit of a dusting on it. Nothing like properly ground on, so still a very easy job. And look at that, the whole tank's clean, just like that. Oh, I missed a spot there. I can see it. And then if you do want to check, just look down and you can see along the tank, along the glass there, if you've like missed any spots, but I don't think I have, so I'm showing you nothing here technically. But yeah, you'll see like a fluffiness on the edge pane if you've missed any. So that's the glass all clean. Next, I want to get rid of this down here. The only spot of algae I can see, it's like this cladophora algae, sort of thing you'd see in a moss ball, but it's just on that bit there. So get that out before it spreads. No, don't eat it, you, just because I was pointing there. You can tell they're getting feisty, it's all feeding time. They weren't doing none of this fighting before, obviously, but that's just part of fish keeping. As long as there's good numbers, the aggression is spread about, and one sort of fish doesn't get bullied and picked on around food time. So yeah, just get this algae bit. Oh, they don't know what this is, they don't like it. Oh, perfect, come up with a rock. Is there any more there I can see? Nope, I think that's just it. Right then, next up is plant trimming. Now, most of it's growing a bit scraggly, so what I'm going to do is cut it down quite low to the base on each one, and any longer bits we can replant, and then we'll get double growth, won't we? I'm just going to trim off one plant type first, so I don't get everything lost. So I'm trimming off the Rotala green here, because that bit's branching across, so I'll just leave it, trim all those. And then we can replant all of this. Just want to grab each stem and then grab about 4 at a time, I like to. And just stick them back where they came from. And now we're going to have double the stems everywhere. Now this is quite a time-consuming part of any fish keeping hobby. Some people don't even replant them, they just snip them off and just wait for the regrowth. And I will do that at a later date, but for now, whilst it's just trying to boost everything, I'll just replant them. And sometimes at this point, what I like to do is just use my fingers, just on my thumbnail and that, just to break off the longer ones. And you can keep the tank looking a bit more natural than if you've just sort of hacked off a load of square sections of plants. So anything much longer, I can just come in, break it off, pull it out the way. And then when I replant, you'll still see the nice top parts. Like even if I left it just like that, it still looks pretty good, doesn't it? But we'll make it look better. Clumped up a load of the plants. I don't know if I actually need any more limnophilia because it grows so fast, but I'm going to put a bit in anyway. Make sure you plant it deep though, because it likes to try and float up out. In fact, I'll put a few more right in the very back area because it's a bit bare over there. And that'll fill in that area nicely. You won't see it for now, but as time goes by, it will get taller and taller. Last thing I need to do here is we've got some dead Vallisneria pieces. Just take those out, otherwise they're going to continue to break down and rot. Sorry guys, chill out, chill out. I know you're not used to the tweezers, but you've got to do this. Trying to move slowly so they're not freaked. There we go. So they're fine with the algae scraper, the razor scraper, but they're not quite used to this yet. Maybe if I just keep tapping underwater, look, they can get used to that sound very gently. It's probably the sound of the tweezers coming together and tapping on bits of rock and stuff. They're not used to that noise at all, so there we go. They're chilling out a lot more now. Look, I can move around them. There we go, that's better. We'll just get used to it. Next up, I'm going to take up the floating plants whilst giving them a little shake off, because we've got some broken down plants just sort of floating in the surface. I don't want them going all back in. I'm being very picky here, but it is my prized discus tank, you know. I wouldn't normally do this in my eco-style system tanks. I'd just leave everything in there, to be honest. But just want to make sure, you know, this one's new. I just saw a bit of duckweed as well, so I'm very glad I'm doing this. And then I can just net out all the remaining loose and degrading plant matter that's floating on the surface. Brilliant, and now we can perform a 50% water change, or just, to be honest, be just slightly over. So whilst we wait for the tank to fill back up, I have just received a parcel, well not one parcel, a lot of parcels from Aquarium Gardens. I ordered some really cool stuff to add to one of the tanks I've been working on recently, but also like loads of detail as well. Detailed gravels and different sands, different textures, that sort of thing. Oh, it feels like Christmas has come early. Well, that's a lot of stuff there. So I've got loads of the black spiderwood that Dave showed me. So look, this one we're just currently growing in, and some of the equipment we've got there is to go on this tank, because this is the base level that you can get from Superfish, the whole kit, the filter, the light, the tank. But we're gonna upgrade it like to the next level, light background, ADA light on it, canister filter with inline CO2 diffuser, that sort of thing. So that's all coming up on the end of that video. It's nearly done. I've just got to add it all in now, let it grow in a little bit, but it's been a week and we're already getting some growth. Look at those roots in the bottom from the dwarf hairgrass, so it's working. Yeah, I've got tubing for the canister filter for that tank because I've only got green stuff, so I thought this would look better. I've got the Eheim surface skimmer, which is really, really good. Got 2 pots of Christmas moss just for another project. I've got glass lily pipes. Oh, they look so smart. And then there's the outflow as well. This is hard one-handed, please don't smash. The outflow one, sexy. And then I got a Neo diffuser to go back into George's tank. Yeah, this is George's tank. I stole the diffuser that was on there for CO2 for the other tank. So these are the 2 scapes that have been done by pro aquascapers. And the whole idea was that we put full CO2 and everything like that. So there's 2 tanks now in the whole studio that are like full-on high-tech. So this is a cool little diffuser that can go back in there. And then we have got tons of different gravels and details. 2 ADA ones, because they look completely different to any others that you can buy. So I thought, you know, I'll get them. We've got lots of the WEO sort of stuff. It's hard to see there, but it's just a general mix of completely different colors and textures, just to allow you to create different and varied scapes. Like this stuff's great as well, just on its own. The Hugo Kamishi natural gravel. I've got a fine and a sort of coarser one as well. So yeah, if you want to get any of your aquarium supplies, then Aquarium Gardens, down in the link down below in the description. I've got a lot of recycling to do, haven't I? Right, there we go. Tank filled up with dechlorinated tap water that has been brought to temperature. I matched the temperature of the tank beforehand, filled it up, and it's still the same. It looks murky, but it's not. It's so many oxygen bubbles just floating around. It's really, really oxygenated. The water came in fast, so it's just what it does. But look at everywhere I've trimmed, look, you can just see the oxygen just coming off of all the plants. This happens in like the damaged parts of the stem, so literally just leaking pure oxygen everywhere into the tank. It also happens a lot more when you put fresh water in as well, just because I don't know why. Why does it do that? Maybe there's more CO2 going into the water from your tap. The stuff that's in there is depleted, there's extra. Everything's going nuts. Fish are cool though, look. It looks still a little bit of a jostling, but nothing like it was when the food was there. All the food's gone now, literally. Not even a little bit of it left over, which is great. It just shows using the right amount. By tomorrow though, the tank should be crystal clear, and yeah, we should be done. Hi guys. So here's just watching them all go around there. I like it when they're all active and hyper like this, just because I was so worried to start with when they're all staying still. And now when I see this, like, it just makes me smile. I love it. Right, next day. And looks amazing. So all those micro bubbles have now completely cleared out and the colours are popping great. Plants look at the right height as well. I deliberately left that stem in the back. You can, not you, buddy. I left that stem in the back there just taller because I want it to hit the surface so I can replant it, and you'll still see it in the background areas there. If I trimmed it now and replanted it, it'd be right down low. It probably wouldn't get as good growth. But yeah, really pleased with the tank. I'm really pleased with the discus as well. So it's been about a month, like I say. So far, not been as difficult as I thought they were going to be, but also they're not as easy as a maintenance-free tank either, just mainly because there's just more worry all the time. Like, it's the first tank I come over and check on. Now, because of that temperature fault as well, I'm constantly checking that as well. But overall, like, it's pretty much the same as any fish. You keep the water clean, you feed them well, and yeah, just kind of look after themselves. Now, this is the third water change I've done on this tank since setting it up, which is like 3 more than I would usually do. So yeah, there is more work. Now, I don't know if I have to be doing that, but it's what was recommended and it's what seems to be working well, so I'll continue with that. You know, if there's one tank in here that I have to do water changes on regularly, then it's going to be this one, right? Also, they're young, so I'm feeding extra, and I don't want to build up any sort of waste. Every time I do a water test, which is pretty much just before I do a water change, all the levels look perfect. Even the nitrate level, considering that amount of food, is all good as well. But the amount of plants in there explains that. They're going to be using all the nitrates to grow, and they are growing, so yeah, all good. So to summarise then, are discus hard? They're not any harder than any of the other fish, but you do need to remain regimented to ensure that everything's running perfectly. Could I get away with doing less? Maybe, but I don't want to take the risk. So, I mean, it's a bit of one of those, really. I don't actually know because I'm doing it so regimented, but I'm going to carry on with that because, yeah, I love these guys and it's going well. So I hope you've enjoyed this update video, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. I don't know what that noise was.